Some breaking news on the Purdue basketball front. A players only meeting has occurred. This has been reported by Sam King, who is a reporter with the Journal and Courier in the greater Lafayette area. So shout out to Sam King. But the tweet was Trey Kaufman-Renn says he called a players only meeting for Purdue 2 days ago. Matt Painter also had individual meetings with players. Purdue has had roughly 5 days, I believe, to get right from exactly what's been going wrong in their 4 game losing streak. They've got a big one against UCLA on Friday night. I don't think the gauntlet is over. UCLA is a very good basketball team, but they finally had some time to breathe between Sunday and Friday. This is a good time for a locker room to try and figure out exactly what's wrong. Now, this was called for, by the way. Chris Kramer, former Purdue legend, was calling for this. Rafael Davis was calling for this. A lot of greats, great program people that matter, that are outspoken, were kind of on record here. Hey, these players got to figure this out. And it appears that has happened. There were also reports from, I believe, Dustin Shute earlier this week that there was a come to Jesus meeting. I don't know if that's a different meeting or if come to Jesus meeting means the players only meeting was the same thing, but it appears two different things have happened. Matt Painter has called players in to his office to say what needs to be said, and Trey Kaufman-Renn is now saying that he was the galvanizer behind a players only meeting a couple days ago. What do you make of all of this emotional management that Purdue is trying to navigate here, Dion?
I've always felt this way. I felt this way about my own favorite teams too. If you have to have a players only meeting to convince players to play, something's wrong. I'm anti players only meetings. I just feel like if you have to do that, there's a larger issue here. It's not Paint's fault. You know what I'm saying? It might not even be the players' fault, but like something's wrong with this team that I don't think a players only meeting can solve. I feel like it, and this might be wrong too, to be fair, but I can't think of a team that had a players only meeting and then subsequently turned their season around. Like I can't think of a team that's ever done that, professional or college.
There's got to be a couple, right?
So the only one I know of vividly is the Warriors against the Kings. Steph had to convince play. I think Steph said something like, "Yo, if you're not gonna play hard, don't get on the bus." If you have to say that, you're cooked. Like you're cooked. Like I just think like it's stuff like that that just doesn't add up to me. I don't know. I'm probably wrong. There has to be one, but a players only meeting that feels like Jimmy Butler esque to me.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so I was kind of hoping you'd be like, this is going to fix the season and be the supporter of this so that I could come be the skeptic that makes jokes about it. Because I don't think it's right for both of us to just clown this and act like it's not going to have an impact on the team. So I guess let me lay that out and start by saying things needed to be said for sure, whether it's from Painter or TKR or Braden or anybody in that locker room. I don't care. Brian Waddell could stand on a table and say it. This team needs to stop whining. They need to stop caring about the officials. They need to put their heads down and stop acting like they're entitled to calls or entitled to championships and go back out and prove it that they should take it from this league. Not that it's given to you just because you won the last two when you had Zach Edey and Lance Jones and Mason Gillis in a uniform. Zach Edey, Lance Jones, and Mason Gillis, by the way, Dion, three guys that were historically tough guys,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like those are like let's just go to war and not say a word about it and battle guys. That's not who this Purdue team has been. They've been demonstratively complainers for the better part of the last month, and Paint's called them out for it publicly. But Paint clearly needs to handle this privately, and it sounds like he's attempting to do so, and the players are attempting to do so as well. So if the right things are said, I'm not going to act like this means nothing. I think there's a good chance this could absolutely help Purdue, and hopefully you say what needs to be said and you move on from that. With that said, to your point on skepticism of do great teams ever need this, or does it actually fix? Do teams that end up winning championships have to do this? Here's what I would say. Of all the players only meetings that I've ever heard about, Dion,
Mm-hmm.
the ones that I believe to be the most successful, I heard about years later, right? Now, I'm not going to give any formal crazy examples, but like there are great Michigan State teams through the years that would handle their business in-house, and then it would come out 5, 6 years later. Oh, yeah, this was something that happened behind closed doors that, fixed things. Things changed and our guys improved. I do not love just the simple idea of reporting on, oh, we're doing this in real time to fix our season. And I don't mean any disrespect to anyone who's reporting on this, to the guys I mentioned at the top of the video that are literally doing their journalistic jobs to report on this. But it kind of feels like this is being laid out like, oh, Trey Kaufman-Renn was at the podium and told us about his players only meeting. Like, do real leaders just like come up and tell that story? Or like aren't you more focused on keeping that in-house? Like
I think you just cracked the code on why I don't think it works. When it works, we don't hear about
right.
it. I think that was the missing link for me, where it's like I've never heard of a players only meeting that worked. It's because we wouldn't hear about it. Like
Right.
we wouldn't have to know it happened if it was gonna work.
It
Uh
just feels performative to me in this sense. Now again, things needed to be said, so I am not advocating that I'm upset this happened or anything like that. It's good. Somebody go stand up and get in someone's face and let's talk about toughness and what we need to change. But here's the sequence of events I feel like has happened in the last couple weeks. Purdue greats that don't play for this team are asking for players only meetings. The players now feel like they have to deliver that because this is a player led program. And if, oh no, Raphael and Chris Kramer are asking for this, we better do it. So then they do it. And then they're checking the box. Hey, let's make sure everyone knows that we did it. Like,
yeah,
like would the players have even done this if former Purdue greats didn't ask for it? And again, the fact that it happened, do we need to tell the world about it if the substance in it actually happens? It all feels very like, oh, okay, they say we need to do this. Like, oh, mom and dad told me to go to the room. Let me go to or like the guy, like Mark Sears tweeting out that he's in the gym
right,
working.
right.
Right? Like it's kind of, is this for show or is this really to fix our issues? Because I don't know that we would have heard about it if it was really to fix our issues.
Well, I think what makes I'm gonna make another NBA comparison. What makes The Last Dance, that documentary, so cool is we didn't know any of that. They went through
Right.
all types of stuff across that stretch that we had no idea about until the documentary came out. That's what, and I'm not sliding Paint with this comment, but that's when you keep stuff in house, right? Like Paint is a championship level coach. I do believe Purdue is a championship, like I guess you could say, organization. But when you come out with it like this, that doesn't scream championship organization to me. The best organizations keep things in house. We still don't know why Andrew Wiggins didn't play for those few months. You know what I mean? Like the Warriors kept that in house to protect him. I think that's the best part about some of this stuff is beeline to Juwan. The biggest difference was we heard everything that was going on with Juwan.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. All right. So last thing for me on this. Hopefully this turns everything around for Purdue. Because I do think like the right person saying the right thing could have a huge impact on this team. The idea that Trey Kaufman-Renn is the one who called this and led it. Is that the ideal way this happens to you?
Uh, man, see, I don't want to be in bad. I don't want to get bad vibes from Purdue fans first day back on the channel, but I put something in the Discord. I think I texted you, our one of our group chats as well. I'm starting to lose it with Braden. I'm starting to lose it with Braden.
What does that mean? Because I'm again, this is him talking. I will never lose it with Braden. That is my guy. I will go down with the ship with Braden Smith. Why are you starting to lose it with Braden?
I'm not necessarily losing it from a collegiate perspective, per se, but I think I was very quick to proclaim Braden the first round draft pick. Uh, and maybe I jumped the gun on that, and I'm starting to lose it because of my own wrongdoings. But I don't necessarily see it from the NBA perspective. I look at the way Indiana guarded him on Sunday. That's what you would face every game in the NBA, and I feel like he took himself out of the game from time to time. Also, there was a moment in the first half where they were like losing, and Braden got pulled, and they went on a run.
Yeah.
And he subbed back in, and the run continued. Don't get me wrong. I was on it. I was on Purdue -2 first half, so that was special for me. But like, I think there's moments where he doesn't step up when I want him to step up. And I think this might be one of those moments where it's like, okay, I think it would have been better if Braden said whatever TKR said.
Yeah, that's fair. Like that's happened on the court for sure at times recently in the last 2 weeks. This is off the court, but I think the point about wanting your best player to step up is totally fair. Look, there are a lot of teams that don't need one guy to be the guy. Purdue is a team that has been on the court led by two guys this year. It has very much been Braden Smith and TKR. I think together they've been the best duo in the sport, especially offensively. So, you share responsibilities just like you do on the court. You share responsibilities from a leadership standpoint, probably. From what we've heard, again, it's just like I don't know, like conjecture, right, through the years. From what we've heard, I don't really view any of these guys as great leaders. I view Braden as a great player and a great competitor, but he's not exactly like a stand up and give a speech in the locker room guy.
Right.
TKR, I think, is a great scorer. I would never say that guy's a great leader. He's a great teammate. He's a great do everything the right way through and through for the program, sacrifice. But he's not like a go out and vocally lead guy. Fletcher Lawyer, I think same thing. He's not a great leader. He's a great shooter. He's a great all that. So if anything, from what I have heard, from what I've been told, Fletcher Lawyer is the guy that is kind of like the vocal person here. He's the person that will stand up and speak for the team. He's the person that will meet with the media to speak for the team at times. TKR is like a quiet, humble guy. Braden's just in his own world guy. That might be part of the problem here. Like if Fletcher Lawyer's the leader on a team with Braden Smith and TKR, then and we're talking about how they have accountability issues.
Yeah.
Does that not speak for itself? So I guess in some sense, again, this is Braden and TKR's team. I guess it's good that TKR is doing this. I will speak for this as the biggest Braden Smith advocate on earth. I would feel so much stronger about this having happened if it was Braden Smith leading it. I just would. This team is going to go where Braden Smith takes them, not where Trey Kaufman-Renn takes them. And I am a little frustrated that TKR called it and TKR gets to tell the world that I called it. Where was Braden in this? Was he sleeping? Was he like, oh shit, Trey, do I need to show up for this? Like, that frustrates me, you know?
I think I completely agree with everything you just said. Despite me saying I'm losing it with Braden, you're correct. Like this team goes as far as Braden wants them to go. And I still think Braden's the best point guard in the country. And if he wants them to go to the Natty, I think he could take them there. Where
Yeah.
I struggle is, yeah, I would prefer that he led the meeting. If you told me he didn't, but then when I watch them play, he's taking the game over and saying, hey, maybe I'm not vocal, but come with me. Like you're going to come with me. I don't know if I necessarily see that either. Like I don't think you can have both. Like having both the I'm the quiet guy, but also I'm not just gonna take this game over if it gets away from us. That's a problem for me. I have to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah, I hear you on it. And look, you can lead by example, you can lead by your play, but I've said this since I coached in high school. The best teams don't need to be told how to lead. Like the players I struggle with the most were guys I had to pull in and say, "Hey, I need more leadership from you."
Yeah.
And some guys just have it naturally and do it by example. Some don't. Right now, it feels like Purdue doesn't have one. And as happy as I am that they finally decided to have an accountability session and come in and try and fix this, the way this happened and the way it's being revealed almost speaks to what I think the problem is. They held a players only meeting because all the former players told them to hold the players only meeting. And then they told the media to check the box that they did it. And again, it doesn't feel very natural here of how they're trying to hold themselves accountable.
Question for you. You brought up the idea of Braden and Trey. Do you think Braden got called out in the meeting at all?
If he didn't, this whole meeting was pointless.
Agreed. Agreed.
But at the same time, again, if it's Trey calling it, Did anyone get to go at Trey for his issues? Because, hey, Trey, guess what? Stop setting illegal screens. Can you guard someone? Can you, like I'm sick of you only caring about your 20, right? Like, stop moving the elbow. Like, all the three best players on Purdue all need this. Hey, Fletcher, stop flopping. Hey, Braden, be better. Like, and if it's just one of those things, like you almost needed the three of them to come in and do it together, or at least like Braden and Fletcher to do it together. And look, we weren't in the room. Maybe Trey Kaufman-Renn did this perfectly. Maybe he called this meeting, started by going at himself and said, guys, I gotta, like, I'm the issue. I gotta do this. But also, guess what? Braden, I need this from you. Fletcher, I need this from you. And then you go to the role players. I don't know. Hopefully, that's how he went about it and started with accountability. I just, I don't know. It'll be very fascinating to see where this goes. And if we hear any more about the meetings, because what happens if they lose to UCLA after a players only meeting, Dion? What happens next?
I mean, then, well, they'd be perfect fits on the Sixers if that happened. And
Yeah,
Embiid would love to have them as teammates.
then they start their own podcast.
Have to.
Podcast Purdue.